This is my chopped apart rudder for my Heath, which I'm getting back at. And I gotta find a place to put that. I haven't worked on it since February 2018, so that's had enough. I don't want this to turn into an abandoned project, so. Last things I did was I cut out all my hinges for the tail feathers, and one of the things I ran into, or two actually, with the rudder, everything was perfect except for the rudder. There's two problems. One, this stuck down about quarter, I think it's over a quarter of an inch, 3/4 of an inch below the fuselage, and it didn't follow the bottom line of the fuse. So yeah, it's just cosmetic, but it bugged me. And the other problem was the trailing edge didn't meet the trailing edge of the elevator. And that bugged me, and I guess it shouldn't have, because it was shorter and it kind of looked goofy. And I wasn't really happy with the shape of it anyway. It just didn't really look like a Heath rudder. And somewhere in this crap I get this is more like the version I'm building. It's got the Jenny style landing gear. But you can see the rudder pretty much follows the line of the fuselage, and it makes a pretty sharp bend, similar to that. And then it goes up to this rather pointy vertical fin. And that part I already conquered. Everything else, this was all nice. But, so now I'm doing a crash course in scarf joints. So I got a 6-inch, this is pretty much 3/4 by 3/4. So I got a 6-inch scarf joint here, and I'll laminate and scarf each lamination. I did have to buy, I was going to build a whole new one. I said screw it, I'll just do it this way. I did have to buy some new, I had 2 strips left over that fit, and then the other 4 wouldn't. So I did end up buying 6. I thought I bought 6 laminations. They only sent me 5 turkeys. So I'll have to discuss that with them. So the laminations will come here. That's the leading edge of the rudder. You can see the pie cut out for the elevator joiner. So that means I had to cut back. I went back 2 inches. And it's probably not necessary to scarf it, but I'm doing it anyway just for practice. And my laminations will come out here. And then I'll cap it with a new piece of plywood. So at the same time, I had to cut off the gussets. And I decided, just to make it look prettier, I cut the top ones off, and I'll be using 16th birch ply. You won't get the big lumps on the rudder. Elevators got them. Whether or not I'm going to start chiseling those off, I don't think so. I'm going to have to live with it. Put on the rudder. I said the hell with it. I had to remove 2 of them anyway. I must just remove the 3rd one. Yeah, so that's where I'm at with this thing. The fun part is probably going to be getting the scarf right on each one of these laminations. What I'll do is I'll probably square these up a little better. I'll do the scarf, because these are all a little too long. I'll get the scarf. If I screw it up a little bit, I get some wiggle room, and I'll trim the length back here. Yeah. So the plan is get back on this and stay on this and get her done. Yeah, I got just about everything. I don't have covering. Don't have paint. And I got to get some epoxy varnish. I'm going to varnish the whole thing with epoxy. And those steel parts, the brackets for the cabines, I think I'm going to use Pour 15 paint on those. It's pretty incredible stuff. Yep. So I'll just give them a quick bead blasting and then put the Pour 15 to them. Yeah. So to Heath, we're back at her. So Rudder mods first, and I'll just take it from there. Scarves on the 1/8 by 3/4 strips. Now the fun begins. Gluing this sucker together. Pulls on it pretty good. There's a filler powder you stir it into the resin. That makes it glue out of it. Man, did you ever suck that up? I don't wipe off any of the squeeze. I did that once. As the wood sucks up the epoxy, that squeeze that's sticking out will actually go in. It'll get pulled in. And there's always some left, but that's okay. This stuff sands really nice. So that's it. Let her dry. Well, put the first 2 laminations on. I was just seeing earlier. This is the next day, of course. Got the 6-inch scarf on the rib here. And as you can see, what a nightmare it would be just to put a new one in. So, scarf joint it is, and that will be fine. It's 6 inches. And this end is working out very well. And yeah, 4 more to go. That'll be done. I got my gussets all cut out, 16th. So you can see I stuck the tail on just to see how everything looks. See, now's the time to make damn sure it's all right, and it is. So I think I'll get a couple of more laminations done today. Mixing the glue again. So I got 3 laminations ready to go. Probably only going to put on 2. Depends on how much of the stuff I got left. There. So I got her sanded down. Lots of epoxy hills, and they're a real pain in the ass to remove, but the upside is the extra epoxy keeps you from having a starved joint and then lamination, but then when you gotta sand it off, the West System epoxy sand's really nice. I remembered I had a little planer, a Great Plains model airplane planer, so I took that out and I brought this down because the laminations I got from aircraft sprues were not all, they're 3/4 of an inch and some of them were 1/16 of an inch or thicker, and one of them was even an 1/8. So not a big deal because you're 1/16 under 3/4 of an inch by the time you're finished anyway. So as you can see, I got her done. I use that little planer to get everything, get the lumps off, get everything flat, because what the epoxy does, when you first start sanding it, it's got like almost like a wax or something on the surface, and it plugs this shit up so like you wouldn't believe, as you can see. So I planed it down, and I got the long rail here. I use a lot of model airplane stuff, and the long one allowed me to get everything sanded nice and flat and straight. So I got that all done, and then I just took my router, I blocked this onto the table, onto the bench, and I rounded off the trailing edge with the router, and I just give her a light sanding with the 80 grit, and she's done. Now I just gotta run my ply over the edge of that, and then put my gussets on. I gotta make up the gussets for the lower spot here. So, and then these are gonna look so much better, especially if you're focused on your job. So, 1/16 inch ply, and this is birch ply, Baltic birch ply. So, one more step, just glue on some plywood, and the rudder is finished. Something I like to do with these gussets before I glue them on, especially with this birch ply. It wouldn't be so bad with the mahogany ply, the marine ply. But this stuff's pretty damn hard. So I always belt sand the taper. You're supposed to blend them in with the tail feathers. So I'm just clamping the pieces where they need to be. Sharpen up my pencil again. And I'm just gonna always trace out where I gotta put the glue. Now you don't have stuff all over the place. This stuff sands really nice, but still. So I got these pieces ready to go on. And again, I tapered them ahead of time. Albeit this rudder will be all finished, so I'll glue her up, and then it'll be finished. A little bit of sanding, and it's done. Now the biggest reason I flipped it around is so all the glue runs down into the joint. I'll make like a nice little extra to beef it up there. Glue will settle into the corners and it'll be nice and strong. Well, 20 after 6 in the morning. I'm still up. Yeah. So I figured before I go to bed I'd go down. And normally I staple these on, but I thought I'd try the clamps this time. And I'll tell you, the clamps worked well. Let's see how this scarf turns out. It's a mighty fine collection of bad batteries today. Buy that for $1. Well, got the last of the gussets on the rudder drying, and I started on the fin. So I got going on the vertical fin here. Wait for no good reason, I suppose, but I wanted the trailing edge of the vertical fin to match the leading edge of the rudder. So that's why I did that. It's pretty low weight penalty. I'm just using the 1/8 marine ply, just like the stuff here. Yeah, so the top side, of course, is got to be done yet. I didn't have enough epoxy to do both. As you can see, it's done. Just doing the final sanding on everything. I got the other side all sanded down, blended. Yeah, so just finished sanding these guys. Most of them are already done anyway. I'm just finishing them off. And put my caps on the bottom. And then I can get busy on my rudder up there. Vertical fin. This is the rudder. This is just cosmetic. I just didn't want the. I just want the trailing edge of the fin to match the trailing edge of the rudder. It's kind of ridiculous. I hadn't waited for that reason, I suppose. But here we are. Done. This side. Now, I gotta do this side. One more sanding fit and we're done. Yeah, I'm really glad I did this. The new gussets and the new shape on that rudder made a huge difference in the appearance of this thing. And I know when I put the fabric on, the fact that these gussets are going to be, you'll see them, but they won't be bulging out like they will be. Yeah. Yeah, same, I got the same issue with the elevator. It's, got the big gussets on it, but what do you do? Yeah. It's not like I'm going to cut them all off for cosmetics.